Place: London. Year: 1814. People: Meux Brewery and Londoners. London, 1814. The city was already loud, dirty, and crowded, but on one strange October day, it became something else entirely. Imagine walking through the narrow streets of St. Giles, a poor district filled with wooden houses and small taverns. Suddenly, you hear a sound. Not a gunshot, not thunder, but something deep, a booming crack, like the earth itself has split open. And then, in a matter of seconds, you see it. A wall of liquid rushing toward you. But it's not water, it's beer. Gallons, barrels, rivers of it. Enough to drown a neighborhood. And it wasn't an accident of nature. It all began inside one of London's proudest breweries, the Meux and Company Brewery on Tottenham Court Road. Inside the brewery stood an enormous vat, a metal giant that towered over the workers. It held more than 600,000 liters of dark porter ale, thick, heavy, and strong. And surrounding it, several smaller vats, also filled to the brim. These tanks were symbols of industrial pride, but also ticking time bombs. On that October day, one of the massive iron hoops holding the vat together snapped. With a thunderous crack, the pressure broke free. The giant vat burst. The force was so powerful, it shattered another nearby tank, and then another, unleashing a tidal wave of beer. Out on the streets, life went on as usual until the flood arrived. The wave was unstoppable. Over 1.4 million liters of porter ale tore through the wooden brewery walls and crashed into the crowded streets. Houses, already fragile and cramped, collapsed like toys under the force. Walls were ripped apart, roofs caved in. Families who had been eating supper only moments before were suddenly fighting for their lives against a flood of alcohol. In the Tavistock Arms pub, a young servant girl was washing dishes when the tidal wave smashed the walls apart. She never had a chance. In nearby homes, mothers and children were caught without warning. Entire cellars, where families often gathered to escape the filth above the streets, were instantly filled with beer, trapping everyone inside. The smell was overwhelming. Thick, sweet porter ale clung to everything. The bricks, the bodies, the air. Witnesses described the scene as chaos mixed with disbelief. Some tried to swim, some tried to cling to floating debris, others simply disappeared under the foam. Word spread quickly. Crowds rushed to see the destruction, and what they found was unbelievable. Streets that looked like rivers, basements that had become breweries, people wandering in shock, drenched head to toe in dark ale. For some Londoners, the disaster was tragedy. For others, it was temptation. Men knelt down in the gutters, scooping beer into pots, pans, even their bare hands, desperate not to waste a single drop. Some joked that the city had been given free drink by the gods. But for the families of those lost, it was anything but a gift. 8 people were killed, most of them women and children who had no chance to escape the sudden flood. Dozens more were injured. Houses were destroyed, leaving the poor even poorer. And yet, in the strangest twist, the brewery itself was never held responsible. The courts ruled it an act of God, as if the heavens themselves had ordered London to drown in beer. The Meux Brewery kept operating, rebuilt its vats, and carried on. The Great Beer Flood of 1814 became a dark legend in London's history. It showed the danger of unchecked industry, the fragility of everyday life, and the strange ways fate can change an ordinary evening into disaster. To this day, people still joke about it. The night London drowned in beer. But for those who lived through it, or lost loved ones to it, there was nothing funny at all. Imagine being one of the survivors, walking through streets where the ground was sticky with dried porter, where the air reeked of alcohol for weeks afterward, where every corner reminded you of that wave. And yet, history has remembered it, not just as a tragedy, but as one of the strangest disasters ever recorded. A reminder that sometimes the line between comedy and catastrophe is thin. In 1814, London learned that lesson the hard way. One broken vat, one tidal wave of beer, and a night that would never be forgotten.